The world seems to have gone crazy for Poland. People are visiting and they're saying that this place has everything you will ever really need. They're not wrong, but it's not what they think. Boom! Boom! Cześć ludzie! What's up people? Hola, JT here. Welcome to another episode. On this episode, we're going to cover 5 things that in my opinion are paramount to really understand this country and notice the differences between Poland out there in social media land and the real Poland. If we search for the term Poland in any social media platform, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, you're gonna find a load of results, videos, photos of extremely beautiful looking old towns of different places here in Poland, content creators just mentioning what big of a surprise Poland has been and that it's the most underrated city in Europe, that the whole world should look at Poland and take notes on how to do it correctly. They talk about how safe Poland is and how they have felt walking the streets of this beautiful country, and none of this is a lie. But ever since I started traveling to smaller cities, I gathered a whole new perspective on Poland and on Poles. It has broadened my horizons. It has made me understand something a little deeper than what you can learn in cities like Warsaw, like Kraków, like Wrocław. There's a slight disconnect from the Poland that we see online to the real Poland. The Poland that you need to breathe, live, so that you can truly experience it. The first thing is that outside of the city center, Poland still feels very post-communistic. What we see online, although also true, has a filter of sorts. You see a Poland that is extremely well developed. You see a Poland that has all these impressive buildings, many of them really taken care of. You see cleanliness on the streets. You see busyness. You see development. You feel that the cities are alive. Culture exploding in every corner, either concerts or theater, plays, literally outdoors. All those things are true. You can see them. But once you go to the outskirts, once you move to the smaller cities, then life just slows down drastically. If your perception of Poland comes from, let's say, Instagram, then you're going to feel that the whole country is, I don't know, like the Rynek in Kraków, or tall skyscrapers made of glass like in Warsaw. Most of the country does not look like that. I am not saying that those places are beautiful and the rest of Poland is just basically shit. Outside of these cities, things look a little bit different. Large concrete apartment blocks, aging train stations, gray infrastructure, neighborhoods that honestly haven't changed much since the times of PRL. It's one of those parts of real daily life that very seldom shows up in internet videos. For me, part of understanding this culture, part of understanding my family, my children who are also Polish, is trying to get down to the core, to the center. It's going to be very difficult to really get to understand Polish culture deeply just by staying in Warsaw. You have to go to the smaller cities and make peace with the fact that this is Poland as much as Kraków. If you can find things you love and find truly fascinating outside of, let's call it mainstream Poland, then this might be a country for you. But if not, my friend, then maybe you should just continue to explore Poland on Instagram. Number 2, and believe me, this one you cannot either see it or feel it on Instagram. Bureaucracy. In Poland, bureaucracy will make you feel like you're literally on another era. Yes, it's true. Internet is extremely fast. The banking in Poland. A lot of people don't comment about this because obviously tourists come and they don't have to deal with Polish banks. But in Poland, the whole banking infrastructure is pretty good. Here, unless you're in Biedronka, the lady's gonna kind of like yell at you if you don't have change. Most people just pay using contactless on their phone, or you do a transfer using this application and system called Blik in Poland, where you basically send someone money over the phone. It's kind of associated to your bank, but anyways, it works fantastically well. But if we're talking about anything governmental or official, all of a sudden we're back 25 years. And you know, I don't know why. The queues are long. Sometimes filling forms, it's not straightforward. Many of the websites for these institutions either don't work 100% correctly or depends heavily on what type of browser you're using. So, or if you're using a Mac compared to a PC. Like in the year 2026, we are right now, yeah, 26, these things should not be happening. I don't get it. Also, whenever they request for anything, the amount of proof that you have to show them, sometimes it feels that it's unnecessary. Maybe they do have a reason why they ask you certain things, but I do have to say that things are improving. There's something to look forward to. I've been dealing with paperwork and with governmental institutions in Poland for almost 14 years at this point, and the difference is there, is visible, but it's still slow. And if you're a foreigner here and let's say you're not the lucky person that has a Polish friend just yet or a partner, I can totally understand that how it can be a nightmare, because the amount of things that you need to provide and the amount of things that you need to account for, that it's just not straightforward, sadly is something that you cannot see on travel videos. Even if someone is making a reel precisely about Polish bureaucracy, you still will know what's coming for you. The third thing is safety. Poland is safe, extremely safe. Literally one of my absolute favorite things about being and living in Poland. So whenever anyone covers the safety topic on any video online, they are spitting out the truth. But I do have to say that there are different ways in how you can feel safe. For instance, if you're walking at night, especially if you are a female, being able to do that, probably unmatched. Absolute privilege, especially when we see the state of the world today for certain other cities in Europe where this is not a possibility, or I don't know, you would dare to do it, but you run a very big risk. Polish culture is a lot more reserved than other cultures. But when you're walking around and you become the center of attention without any specific reason, then all of a sudden it might feel a little bit like intrusive, that someone is intruding onto your personal space, whether they're close to you or not. Still, there's this part of your mind or your reptile brain that's going to tell you that, hey, there's some potential danger here. But I want to make sure to say that this is not something that is going to materialize into anything real. I walk around with a camera, I make content, so I'm putting myself out there even more. And believe me, other than people walking next to me, I've never had any problems. I've never had any confrontations. I've never had anyone come to me and tell me, what are you doing? But there is one instance where you for sure can be in potential danger, particularly if you are different. And that is with the football fans. You know, those guys that wear tracksuits and they walk like this, either a beer or a cigarette, and they're walking. Those people can be a potential problem, you know, especially if you're a guy walking around, maybe alone. There are stories on the internet and Facebook groups with foreigners saying that, listen, I was verbally attacked by a couple of guys, basically telling me to go, get out of here, who am I, what am I doing here? I don't want to glorify Poland, and precisely because when you hear somebody like me online saying that Poland is so safe, listen, this is not a hyperbole. It really is that safe. It's worth mentioning it, and it's worth putting it in bold letters and blacked out, that it is as safe as we make it out to be. But under certain circumstances, variables can coincide to a particular moment where you could not feel as safe in Poland. There can be moments of subtle tension. Number 4 is the awareness that the gap between the smaller cities and the big cities in Poland is actually huge. When you go to any of the big cities in Poland, you get this sensation that business is thriving, and it is. But the contrast with a smaller town in Poland is sometimes staggering. Absolutely one of the most challenging things. The cities are not only developing, getting richer. People that are in these places, they are earning a lot more. They feel like they are part of European Union Poland. They feel that PRL Times is something that belongs where it belongs 40 years ago. But if you go to just sometimes 2 hours away from any of those big cities, hell, don't even go 2 hours. Sometimes it's enough to go half an hour, and you'll find places where there's lack of modernity, where people are in more dire needs. You even question how do they wake up every day and find the strength to get on to another day. It's like their life has become somewhat of a dream, like a dystopian reality. This is part of real life in this beautiful country. And I think we should do something about it. We should try to go and visit the smaller towns, not only to see and to know, because all smaller towns have a history, but also to inject a little bit of capital to consume from the local producers. And if we can do something to reduce that gap, then by all means. The fifth thing is how fast things are changing in Poland and the contradiction that this creates. You have modern buildings in the big cities full of innovation, all this tech next to a communistic blocky, and highways, perfect. They look like they belong to Denmark or Sweden. But right there next to them, when you make a right, you have these dirt rural roads. Sometimes you don't even know if it's leading to another city or if it's going to someone's parcel. These big mogul companies that sometimes share a wall with a mama i tata pączki sklep. On the same city, you might experience 21st century innovations that is running on a multiple decades old system. That same contrast is what makes Poland so fascinating, but at the same time so confusing if you come with this simplified version of what you think Poland is just from social media. So yes, Poland is safe, very safe, historically rich, culturally rich, constantly trying to better itself, but complex, with its rough corners and edges that still need some sanding down. And how much you are able to interpret that, adapt to that, and accept that will make the biggest difference in how much Poland really is the best place for you in the world. Boom! That's all, guys. That's the end of this episode. I hope you liked it. Of course, let me know in the comment section, what do you think about this? What do you think about how Poland is being portrayed online? Now, granted, please, let's try to bypass the comments about not bringing foreigners here. We don't want this. Let's leave Poland alone. Let's not promote Poland. We have been down that road. We know what is there. But truly, from an open perspective, whether it's being advertised by Poland's own touristic agencies or Poland's own content creators, forget about us foreigners. What do you think of Poland's image out on the media compared to the real Poland that is here? And where do you stand on this? See you on another episode. Adios.